What is going on? What is going on, community? We are here on a Saturday, about to lock in. If you're joining the live, I want to thank you guys for being here. Had to cut it short yesterday, had something that came up. So, unfortunately, but sometimes you got to take care of business, and glory to God, everything was good and everything was okay. So, welcome to the Vibe Studio Sessions, Vibecoding software. Um, I'm designer Malcolm. I want to welcome you guys to another live stream. So, if you're new with us, we are building a tool called Open Enterprise. That's our focus today or currently in this stream, and we're going to grow that um, to get some users and to really build um, an important piece of software in the entrepreneur business space. Really glad. So we were kind of, let's see, yesterday I was kind of walking through some things that we were trying to fix. Let me see if I can pull this up here. So we are working through a couple things here. Let's pull this up. That. All right, so we had a couple issues yesterday that we had to walk through before I had to cut it short. The main thing here is we needed to fix the agent's ability to write and read tools, and so that's what we were working towards before I had to cut it short. I did manage to get a little bit done after I ended the stream, and I kind of want to show you guys where we're at. Let's see if I can pull this up. Let's see. Deployment. So this is like a little different today. Saturdays we just kind of going with what feels right. I think what's important right now is to really hone in on the marketing and having a marketing strategy. So I kind of want to highlight that. I definitely want to highlight that actually. And to me, that is very important. So we just started building this probably about a week ago. So we're going in on 2 weeks. So that's the cool thing with agentic development. If you know what you're doing, you can get your idea to market pretty fast. So I don't want perfectionism. It's not the goal, but I want something that's dangerous, right? I want something that people can be happy to use. And so let me share this here. I wish it was like quick. And just if you're kind of familiar, like how I've built this is. Give me 1 second. Let's go with comments. Let's put those on the screen real quick. If you guys are ever interested in streaming, highly recommend StreamYard. I've been using this tool and it's amazing. I have an affiliate link in the description. Go ahead and use that. I don't know how much you get off, but definitely going to promote that. I only promote stuff that I actually use, and I'm a huge fan of StreamYard. It's just slick. So if you guys are trying to grow an audience, build in public, I think the best way to do that is live, right? And I think I'm kind of biased. I've only ever used StreamYard, but StreamYard has just been great. And this is not sponsored at all. If you sign up, you get an affiliate link. So I'm not sponsored or anything, but I'm just trying to give you guys tools that I use. And this is a really good one. So I wanted to shout them out. So let me do something here. Let's go ahead and then let's share. Okay, I'm trying to share screen with you guys. And it looks like, there we go. Okay. The baby, our little child that we are raising to be an important part in society. So what is open enterprise? I always like to reiterate this in the beginning of the stream. It is an agentic organization software. What does that mean? Well, it means if you want to build any kind of enterprise that's fully agentic, fully autonomous, or business, we are the platform. We are built on top of OpenClaw. In addition, we are expanding the capabilities of OpenClaw through our own proprietary discoveries and frameworks. So you don't just get a claw or an agent that is linear, right? You give it a command, it has access to tools, and it goes and does that thing. We are exploring the development of organizations and how people can build companies that are fully agentic. Like, that is our driver. So the reason why I like to state this is it's really important to know who your customer is, right? It's really important to know who your user is. And so how I like to think of this is our user are the people who use Shopify, right? Entrepreneurs, the people who are starting businesses or who have companies. They can easily implement an agentic system into their business with Open Enterprise. We're also excited about the young people who are on the rise, and they want to start something and they want to build something for themselves. Well, the best way to do that is to start by leveraging the technology that's available to you. Otherwise, you'll be behind. And I think some of the most important technology of this decade are LLMs, AI, but more importantly, agents. And it's a buzz term right now, but these things are powerful, right? Because essentially they can do a lot of the workflows and a lot of the tasks that a regular person can do for a fraction of the cost. For example, you can have a CTO, right? Chief Technical Officer, who kind of manages teams of agents, deploy and work on your code for a tenth of the price that you would pay for a regular CTO, right? Regular CTO, and if depending on if they're a founder or not, that price can rise up to, 250, 300K annually, right? And then for this, you probably would pay maybe, well, it is coding, so it's a little bit on the higher end side in terms of token usage, but a few grand, right? $6,000 maybe in a whole year to have an application working and constantly improving autonomously. So we believe that is the future. That is what we are hitching our wagon to. There's a lot of people out there that are building platforms for agents. We explicitly like to say we are different simply because our focus is not linear, right? We are exploring building agentic organizations, right? Without the human, right? Removing the human from the process. So I say all that to say we were working on getting these agents. So right now, the biggest challenge we have was exposing our tools to the agents. So when a user signs up, right, that agent should have tool access to all of the tools that are native to Open Enterprise. And we come with a lot of tools out of the box because we believe the way we structure our software is it's structured in a way to where the user is somewhat like a board member, right? And how do companies and organizations work, right? There's systems and SOPs. That's how they're able to scale, right? I do think that there's some value there to have an agent that just goes and does research for you, or that goes and just does coding for you. But if you're building a company, if you're building a business, there's systems in place. And so the way we structured our software is to highlight these systems that I've experienced working in corporate, and bringing that into the agent space, right? So it's not just linear. It's not just a personal assistant. It's a company that's autonomous. That's what we're working towards. Also, before I explain a little bit more of this, if you're interested in some of my ideas and my thoughts and my discoveries, I do have a research journal. It's called agenticfounder.org, and that's where we are kind of asking different questions in what we've seen in the landscape. And a few of those questions, or mainly those questions, are around this agentic organization. We're exploring that piece, and we're making the best platform available for entrepreneurs and small businesses to start to implement agentic organizations into their company. So go to agenticfounder.com, agenticfounder.org. It's my research journal. We want to eventually grow this into something pretty big, where it's, we have discussions, and maybe it'll be a newsletter at some point. The goal is, like, it's all free, right? I'm not here to gatekeep. I want to put emphasis on that. If you're looking for a guru, I'm not your guy. I'm not a guru. I'm here to give is so much value. And I like to always bring this up. Rest in peace, the late Virgil Abloh. I'm by practice fashion designer that's really into tech. And one of the things that I think Virgil did very well in his time here on Earth was he was all about educating the youth and helping people, like, get to that next level. And he had a website called Free Game, which was fire. So I'm gonna do the same thing, but it's called Agentic Founder. Free Game. There's no course. There's none of that BS. So if you want the real deal, you want to rock with me, and we're learning together, join that. Go visit that, and I'm going to evolve that into something where you can really, explore and learn more about these systems, right? Also, I want to mention we do have a wait list for Open Enterprise, and that should be in the link. So we only have 500 seats available. And this is part of the marketing, right? We want to make this exclusive, and we want to make this, it's not accessible to everybody initially, simply because these 500 seats will be for, they will be paying customers, and we want to make sure they have the best experience possible. So if you're interested in getting access to Open Enterprise, go ahead and sign up for that. Go ahead and sign up for that wait list below. Shout out to the guy. There's a guy in the chat on one of the videos. He was really helpful. He said that waitlist link was broken, so we did fix that. But anyway, let's go back to what we were working on. So initially, what we were trying to figure out is, how do we give our agents access to all the tools in this dashboard? And so that's what we were resolving inside of Cursor. Now, there's this concept of having read and write access. And what we discovered was that our agent had, it had a set of callable tools, but a lot of those callable tools were tools that were native to OpenClaw already. And so we needed to make sure it had access to Open Enterprise's callable tools. And here's the list. So this is what's cool, because we're built on top of the OpenClaw repo, which is fantastic, by the way. And if you guys are like questioning, why do I need OpenClaw, or why do I need Open Enterprise? I could just go get OpenClaw. I say, yeah, hell yeah, go get OpenClaw. We're not here to compete with OpenClaw. We're just taking the flag and pushing it further, right? OpenClaw gave us a good foundation to start, but we are in the process of, we are building something even more. But at its core, OpenClaw has provided us just it's really a complex RAG system. And we talked about what RAG system was yesterday. And then I'll pull that up and explain what RAG is. And it's really just a robust RAG system at the end of the day. And we've been fortunate enough to kind of leverage that. And it's essentially what RAG is. It's retrieval augmented generation. So it enables large language models to retrieve and incorporate new information, right? So I can go and retrieve information and then incorporate that information from external data sources. And how it goes and retrieves that data is pretty cool, right? It's, whether it's retrieving it through a Telegram group or retrieving data from there's a number of ways it can retrieve data, right? Whether it be through an MCP or API. And so that's kind of exciting. And that's why we're really excited that we're proud to say we are built off of OpenClaw. We're not trying to compete with OpenClaw, but we're driving towards a different direction, a different mission. So I just want to say that at its core, that's what we are, and we're proud to stand by that. And we are very supportive of that camp, right? We love where they're going. We love the value they've brought to open source. And one may ask, like, well, how are you going to be successful if you're built off of an open source framework? Well, it's very, very simple, right? Look at Cursor. Cursor was built off of an open source framework. It was built off of VS Code. Look at who else we have out there. We have Cursor. I'm drawing a blank, but it doesn't matter, right? What matters is, like, can you build a meaningful product, and does it serve your customer? And one of the biggest challenges that, and this is no discredit to OpenClaw, but one of the biggest challenges that I've noticed with OpenClaw is setting it up. And there's like a quite the barrier to entry, right, for the average person, right? So if you are a developer, if you're a tinkerer, sure, that's probably your lane, and you're excited to use OpenClaw. But we wanted to make that extremely simple, and we wanted to make that frictionless as possible. So first things first, we wanted to figure out how to give this access to these tools. And so the other day we came across a couple issues that we need to fix. And one of the issues was with let's see here. Let's pull up callable tools. So where do we leave off at? And if you're interested in learning my flow, I keep it pretty simple. I don't use Claude Code. I never have. And I'm pretty sure it's good. But once I find a process that works for me, typically like to stick with it. There's no need for me to change and switch up just yet, but I like to use Cursor. And I mean, if you want to use Claude Code to make your products, by all means, I encourage you guys to. You can also use Claude Code inside of Cursor. I never felt the need to do that. But if you like the terminal interface better, Claude Code is great. There's an open source one called OpenCode. I think is pretty cool, but I don't really mess around with too many tools. I'm really just trying to get products done and get them to market. I think you can tinker and over optimize, and I'm against over optimizing. I think over optimizing in your downtime is great. And I think you should try all the things, but when you're trying to produce, I don't believe that's the right time to it's almost like I played sports. If you've never shot a 3 before in a game, you don't go and shoot a 3 in your first game, right? You practice, and then when game time comes around, then you go. So that's kind of my suggestion. Instead of chasing which tool is the best, just find out what works for you and just stick with it. So let me pull up the cursor here. Just make sure we don't expose some craziness. Fresh session without losing chat history. So we are, and part of this stream is going to be a little bit of working on getting this tool live access, or getting our agent, we'll call it a CEO because that's what he really is for us, access to the open enterprise tools. And then the other half is going to be exploring marketing. So we need to start to market. And I've started by, with these live streams. That's a method, but we need to get more intense with our marketing. I mean, that's what's important, right? If no one knows what you're building, then you're just building in silence, and you're not going to get customers or users, rather. All right, so let me see here. Let's remove this. So I'm going to share cursor. All right, so we have cursor pulled up. Let's see. All right, so this is our cursor. Let me add this. Boom. All right, so this is what we've been testing the other day. One thing I've noticed is, so I typically, because it's just me, I don't follow best practices, and I would highly recommend you follow best practices if you're new to development. I typically deploy everything to production, and that's probably not the best. That isn't the best way, but I don't really care. Like it works for me. But I highly recommend a couple things just for housekeeping purposes. You want to have if you're working in Cursor. So this is purely for Cursor people. Um, I mean, it goes for anyone working in some sort of IDE or CLI or terminal, but you want to maintain version control, and when you use GitHub for that. And it's a lot of times it's good to push your updates to the developer environment first. This allows you to really debug anything before going to production. That's best practice. I typically push to production, but the nice thing is a lot of my errors, they come from if the if there's errors in the code. So I use Vercel for the front end, and I use Render for my back end, and then I use Supabase for my database, and then I use Prisma as my ORM, which is just like object relation management. It's how I interact with my database. So that's kind of my setup. It's been what I've used. I know there's a lot of other stuff out there. It just works for me. And I probably will try unique or different approaches here. This is TypeScript with Next.js, and that's kind of the entire system here. But so I want to talk about, just making sure you have best practice. Always, what I would say is implement version control. So within Cursor, what I usually do is I connect the repo. It's really easy and fast, which is nice. And then you have what's called like a Git tree down here. And this just allows you to kind of go back in time if anything happens. It creates just a tree, like a long tree of all your commits. So highly recommend that if you're new to this type of workflow. All right, so our agent does not have access to the native tools, and we need to give our agent access to the native tools. And so what we found is what currently works in our system is MCP API tools, accept authenticate company runtime, gateway discovery, legacy. Fastest way to make tools. So we need to make our tools discoverable. And this is where I got stuck last night. So restart or redeploy the app. Grab OE core installation ID. If you mean an OE app agent chat, you usually do not need a brand new chat session just to pick up these tools. Sending a new message after the steps above will rebuild context and remount the effective tool surface for that turn. If you mean this kind of external ID subscription style agent session, no, you need to refresh. So that's not what we're talking about. So the answer is OE app agent, usually no refresh chat required. So do you still need to build those plans? So these are plans that I had. If your target is the OE app runtime, you should now be able to make it work with the refresh sequence above. So there's a refresh sequence, which to me was a little confusing. So I finished the real validation path, and I'm checking the exact endpoints you can use to force immediate discoverability. This includes The core one-time helper plus existing tool surface, the MCP hardening coverage. The many failures are pre-existing and unrelated to the OE breach order. All right, so this is what works now. The app now has the missing pieces that blocked OE native tool discoverability. Okay. Authenticated company runtime, not just browser sessions. Auto installs and auto binds to agents on provision higher. Existing agents self-heal when connector registry is loaded. So this is the part that we need. So let me check if the deployment was pushed. It's kind of where we're. Let me just check and see if that deployment was pushed. So the deployment was pushed successfully on my back end. Blueprints, projects. Okay. I do have an automation in GitHub that pushes it just updates my application. So we always have the latest version of OpenClaw. So that's nice. So we did have a successful deployment on render. Let me see. So I'm kind of tempted to just paste in just to see if we can get it working. Paste in what it says. Here, let's do that. Yeah. Let's see if we can debug Open Enterprise with our own Open Enterprise agent. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this inside of our own tool. This is what's amazing about AI. Like you could literally just cook. All right, so let me switch gears here. And let's see, video file. So I want to share the Open Enterprise with you guys. Okay. Stop screen. Image file. We're going to share screen. We're going to share Open Enterprise. All right, that's what we got. Also, let me check and see if our dictation tool works. So I'm going to see if that works too. So it works on mobile. Oh, you guys can't see. So I'm sharing the Open Enterprise with you guys because we're going to try and work it in here, work with this agent. Okay. So for some reason, maybe it's a permission thing. Let's see. Connection is secured. Maybe the permissions aren't. I'm trying to give it permissions to use my mic, so bear with me here. We are live, guys. We are live. Microphone. Okay, let's allow it. Okay, we allowed microphone. All right. That's good. So let's close that. See if that makes a difference. Yeah, so this isn't working well. Oh, okay. So this is a UI issue. So when we press this, it should be red, right? And right now we just have it just says, I don't know if you can see this, but I get a little tooltip that says start dictation. So we'll start it and we'll see if it works. So I just had the cursor agent communicate what it needs to happen in order for you to have full tool access. Here's what it said. Yeah, so we need to fix this. This is something that we got to really look into. All right. So I'm going to type this. We'll just type it. And I'm just testing to see what the agent tells us. And another thing we really want to improve here is the performance. It's not snappy enough. So we're going to put that as something to think about or not think about to address here in the future. Also, real quick, real quick, before we do this, I will be I'm gonna go for this tomorrow. We're gonna be setting up a live open claw. Excuse me. We're gonna be setting up a live open claw. I have a fresh Mac Mini. Yes, fresh Mac Mini. I'm on the hype. I don't care. And I have a fresh little monitor. So we're gonna set him up tomorrow. That'll be, I don't know how long it's gonna take. It'll probably take a couple hours, but we're gonna get that set up, give it its own environment. I'm gonna try and find a couple setup instructions, but this should be fun so you can guys see me live. You can see me live setting this up, and hopefully, it can help you guys. Now you might be asking, why are you setting this up? So this particular claw that I'm setting up is going to be like my personal Jarvis, right? I plan to use it. A lot within, some my personal life, as within my home, give my family access to it. So it'll be set up for that specifically. Eventually, I'm going to set it up to where it can connect to Open Enterprise. So that's the goal. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in learning how to set up your own OpenClaw. That should be tomorrow. No promises. I'll let you guys know if you schedule it, but you can, watch me live set up an OpenClaw. Like I said, I have the bare minimum Mac Mini. So like the $599 one, I'm giving it its own screen. And the reason why I'm separating those environments, just because I like that level of an extra level of security. But the nice thing is, if you already have a Mac, the Mac ecosystem is perfect for working with a claw on another Mac device. So it's easy to share and communicate with each other. So stay tuned to that tomorrow. We'll do that live. There might be some fumbles. We don't know. There might not be, but yeah, that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. So let me put this back on the screen here. So one thing we noticed is the dictation isn't working as well. So we need to fix that. I'm going to go ahead and type in here what we needed to do. So I had cursor tell me what let's see. Yeah, this performance is terrible. What? It's needed in order for you to have access to the tools. Here is that conversation. All right, so we went ahead. Wow, this is terribly slow. So we really want to improve that. There's no reason it should be that laggy. It could be a number of issues where I've implemented like chat before in an application, and there's an issue where it's like loading everything. I'm not entirely sure what that's called. And so it's every time you load it up, it's it's got to load up a lot of information. So let's go ahead and send this. See what it says. So this is cool, guys. I'm using Open Enterprise to help me fix Open Enterprise. Also, while he cooks on that, let's pull up some of the finances. This is fun. So you guys know this is the real deal. We're not some guru out here trying to finesse, and you guys are really going to be with me on the come up. Our current MRR is gross $50 a month. Look at that. Look at that. I can't wait till that grows. It's going to be amazing to see where we started. The goal is 50K MRR, and we're going to hit it, guys. And that's 50K MRR with Open Enterprise. We're going to hit that by the end of the year. That is our goal. That is what we're going to hit. I have a funny suspicion we're going to surpass that, but a modest, healthy goal of 50 MRR by the end of the year. I think that's a great goal. I think it's that's a modest goal. We just got to show up every day and market our asses off. Like that's what we need to do. There's no other thing that needs to happen. Now we can sit and tinker all day, but let's pull up the MRR, guys. So this is where we're at with Open Enterprise. $50, baby, 50 MRR. And mind you, we launched almost 2 weeks ago, so we're new. We launched a week ago. We built for a week. Yeah, we built this whole application in about a week, and then we launched a week ago. So we're fresh, man. We're fresh. 50 MRR. So that's what we've hit so far. We have one customer, so our net is $48. And let's go. Let's go. Like, get up off your butt, stop playing video games, and get to it, man. We are in a perfect opportunity right now. To build something that can really change your life, to really build something that can improve your family's life. What's your biggest why? What is your why, right? There's no need to overthink things. There's no need to complicate things. Figure out a problem and solve it. It doesn't have to be a SaaS tool. It doesn't have to be software. It could be whatever, but I highly, highly push for entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? This is like, for me, this is big. You know, I've tried and I've built many things and I've failed all of them. Like all of the things that I've built, and I'll share that list with you guys one day, but I've built so much stuff and nothing has really taken off. And so you learn each time. And look, I also want to say, look, if people say, hey, you don't need to go to school, I think that's bonkers. Like, don't listen to that. If you feel you need to go to school, school is a great place if you can afford it. I believe don't go into debt. But if you can afford a collegiate education, do it. If it's paid for, if you got scholarships, do it. Because aside from the education alone, what school does is just teach you now how to be a dweeb, right? You're put in an uncomfortable situation, an unfamiliar situation where you have to really build your social skills. You have to know how to talk to people, depending on the classes you take, right? They help with speaking skills. There's a lot of great things you can extract from school. So I'm not one of these people to say, hey, don't go to college. It's a waste of time. Nah, fuck those people. Those people are idiots. If you can afford school and you have access to go to school, go. I think it's a great place. You may or may not finish. Who knows? Like for me, I couldn't finish school. Like I went to a prestigious design school and they're charging like $50K a year. I said, screw that. I wasn't going to go into debt to go. But the time I did go to design school is amazing. So stay in school, guys. And you can still hustle. Like now you can go to school and have an AI agent build a business for you while you're in your fucking English 101 class. Like, let's go. So I'm at 50, 48 guys, $48 MRR. We're going to grow this thing. 50K MRR is the goal. And what's MRR? That's monthly recurring revenue. That's what we're going to strive for by the end of 2026. I hope you guys are here with me. All right, so let's switch back to the agent. So what's dope is I'm using the agent inside of Open Enterprise to fix Open Enterprise. So if you notice, I had some issues with getting this agent, our agents, right, our CEO, access to our tool suite here, right? Because natively out of the box, when a person signs up, their CEO, right, needs to have access to all of these tools. We have roadmaps, workroom, memory, treasury. So they need access to that. So I was working in Cursor, and it said that there's a few things we need to do to reset this particular instance. And so we're working through that right now. So I'm using him to debug. So I said I had Cursor tell me what was needed in order to give you access to these tools. Here's the conversation. So I just pasted the conversation, and he said, short answer, yes. The sequence is plausibly that's missing, and the key lines is the agent context is rebuilt per message through build agent context. So that means you usually do not need to rehire the agent. You may need a brand new company. Oh, you may not need a brand new company, but you do need the connector installed to exist. Pass the test and complete discovery. Then send a fresh message so the next turn rebuilds the tool context. Okay, what it implies technically. Server code alone is not enough. Okay, we get that. Connector registry entry. Tool exposure is company installation driven. So if OE core is installed per company and discovery populates tools, then tool availability here depends on connector registry loaded. Okay, active listening agents, blah, blah, blah. Discovery completed successful. Per message rebuild means session memory. It's not the main blocker. If build agent context runs on each message, then a fresh inbound message should be enough to pick up newly discovered tools. If tools still don't appear after that, likely causes our registry not loaded to the correct company ID. All right. Wrong or stale installation ID. Okay, what I can confirm. So I like him. I like our agent, or I like our CEO. He definitely gives a lot of insight. Hey, if you guys want access to this, if you guys want access to Open Enterprise, link in the description, baby. Join the wait list. 500 seats available. All right. So the operational checklist I'd use is restart/redeploy app, load connector, verify core installs, run installation, discover, verify the next turn, expose tools. The important nuance is if Cursor is right, a new chat should not be strictly necessary. A new inbound message should be enough. So the truth is here, the conversation you pasted is technically consistent. It also explains why code changes alone didn't give me tools. So I can give you the exact verification matrix for each step. This is so cool. Oh, man. Like, wow. Open Enterprise is changing the game. And we're bootstrapped, by the way. Fully bootstrapped, solopreneur. We're going to grow this thing. We're going to have a massive office. Let me give you guys some sauce, because you guys think it's a game out here, and it's not. Your boy's a visionary. So I'm kind of off track because I'm geeking right now. I want to show you guys something, because we're going big here. We're going big. Now, if you're not familiar, like, we have what's called Web3. We have Web3. Let me pull up the Open Enterprise campus. We're gonna call it the campus, right? Wow. This is the Open Enterprise campus, Open Enterprise campus is right here. Look at this. Look at this. Shout out to my guy. He said, I got a message. He said, we should add disasters to this. Yo, hit me up. If you got some ideas, let me know. We'll definitely get there. But this is the Open Enterprise campus, right? This is the agentic world. So what we've done is we have we I'm on a mission to create a new ecosystem for entrepreneurs who have agentic businesses. And so what we've decided is, and we haven't implemented this yet. I'm going to tease this for you guys, but we want to be fully Web3 integrated because I think Web3 is it just makes sense for agents. It's kind of crazy how Web3 technology came out, blockchains came out, and then agents came out shortly after. And so the reason why I think Web3 is perfect for agents is because blockchain. It's blockchain, right? Um, and money transmits extremely fast on the blockchain. And so, hold on, give me a sec here. I got someone calling me. I got to put that on, put the focus on, so we're not disturbed. All right. So we got like we need things moving, right? And if you're gonna have a fully agentic CEO and a fully agentic CTO and team, you gotta have Web3 payment rails, right? I believe that is the best. So the thing is we're not gonna allow fucking scammers and a lot of these people out here who just are like grifters come on to open enterprise and finesse, right? So there's going to be a lot of thought and care into this, right? Because the reality of it is you can spin up a coin and push it to your community and then rug pull them. So that's not what we're doing. We're creating our own version of an exchange. And so let me show you what I had built. Now this is all JSON data because we really wanted to get the look right. But if you build an agentic company on Open Enterprise and you have proof of revenue, eventually we're going to open this to the public where you can take your company and you can list it on the Open Enterprise Exchange. Now tell me this isn't dope, right? Fully agentic companies listed on an Open Enterprise Exchange. Fire, bro. And what's going to happen is we're going to connect this to Web3. Now, we don't know what blockchain we want to use, but if you have a company and you're generating good revenue, there's going to be obviously a due diligence period. You can go ahead and list your company on the Open Enterprise Exchange. We got this slick ticker up here. We're gonna build this out. So all of our companies in here, granted, you hit certain metrics, you can apply to list on our exchange, and you can raise capital, right, for your small business. No one's doing this, bro. This is what I mean, guys. If you got an idea, fucking go hard, bro, because ideas are important, right? Building software has been leveled, right? The playing field has been leveled. So if you can have a little bit of patience, a little bit of discipline and hunger, you can get it. So we have our Open Enterprise Exchange, and I'm so excited about this. We haven't rolled this out yet. I just got the page set up. We'll have like our OEE index, but this will be full block, like Web3. And I'm pumped for this. So if you have any kind of experience with Web3, token economics, and you want to be a part of this, let me know. Tap in with me. We're going to make this legit. We're going to make this a legit exchange where you can, invest in companies. I'm pumped for this. And we like, whether you like Trump or not, we are in a very crypto friendly president's, what's the word here? Like administration. So I think it's a great time if we can get this going, or when we get this going, we're in a very like positive crypto administration, like very supportive of crypto, very supportive of Web3 tech. So this is the future, I think, of agentic businesses. They will be on the OEE exchange, and we're going to have very, very strict metrics, and I don't know, like I have to really think about the token economics here. This isn't something that you can just pump and then pull a rug pull. These will be legit companies. Their revenue and assets will be listed publicly. Like, I'm so pumped for this. Like, no one is thinking about this. Everyone is thinking about like, oh, I want to make my agent do research for me 24/7. Like, nah, man. How do we create an agentic New York Stock Exchange? Well, we're going to do that with Web3. We're going to have our own native coin, our native token. I'm not sure, like I said, the tokenomics behind that. If it'll be in the form of a DAO, if they're like whatever we're doing, I don't know. I got to think through this, but that is the future. Like, that is what I envision. And I don't know, I'm excited about this. Like right now, so we have market cap, we have 24-hour volume, we have listed companies, total amount of agents deployed. We have our OEE index, so that'll be like the NASDAQ. We have top movers. And this, guys, this isn't going to be stupid meme coins, right? Or NFTs. These are going to be legit agentic companies that are built on open enterprise. You can list it. You can apply to list if you want to expand and grow. And that is what we're going to do. So we got to really think about this. So this is fantastic. We have active capital raises. So you can see like what companies are raising capital. These are all the listings. So this is all JSON data that we have. But in theory, what's going to happen is open enterprise grows, we're going to get more businesses on here, and they'll be able to list. They'll be able to list on the Open Enterprise Exchange. And so this is the future. We are building the future. And then we have obviously an apply now. So this is what we're looking to do, right? This is exciting. I can't stop geeking over this. You can like, yeah. So I wanted to tease that for you guys. So this is what we're aiming towards. Additionally, we have our marketplace, which is pretty cool. And our marketplace allows developers to build applications for agents. So we have a lot of indie developers that are building stuff. One developer I found built a really cool API to a very famous tool. Still waiting to hear back from them, but if we can get them, we can have a bunch of tools for your agents to use. So anyway, let's get back to the topic. And like I said, let's take one more look, guys, at the campus. This is the Open Enterprise campus. Look at this. Sick. We can even come down in here, get close. Let's get closer. Yeah, man, this is awesome. So cool. So we obviously we're gonna constantly improve on this. What else is cool too is if you like, let's scroll out. We need to improve. A lot of this could just be my computer, but we do want to improve the overall speed and performance of everything. So yeah. So if we pull out, if you want to, this is also a menu. Like, this does serve a purpose. So if you want to access your navigation, you would click the eyeball here, and then it pulls up. So let's go to the boardroom real quick and see what we need to do. So I'm going to take that conversation we had with our agent, and all right, so this is a bug we need to fix. It could be speed, but these should take you to your navigation link. So that's something we need to explore here. Not pressing, because it's more visual than anything, and most people will just probably access that here. So we're not really worried about that. But geez, this is cool. All right, let's get back. We'll turn that off. Guys, if you're just joining in, I'm designer Malcolm. We are in a live vibe coding session. We are building a tool called Open Enterprise for entrepreneurs, small business owners, large business owners, doesn't matter, to help them get access to agentic organizations, right? Help them implement agents into their business. Powerful agents, not just agents that can go and do an email for you, but agents that can communicate with each other, that can plan, that can, gauge P&Ls and make plans and implement those plans, right, on behalf of the founder, right? Fully agentic. That is what we're building. Our thesis is the future is agentic organizations. So that's what we're building here. We are currently at 50 MRR, and our goal is 50K MRR by the end of the year. We have the platform is live, but it's only accessible through our wait list. And so we're slowly building up our wait list to give people access that first cohort. We want to create a great product. We want to create a great experience. This is not a free project, right? But we are built on OpenClaw. And if you want to have like a free claw, go ahead. Like we are excited to say like we support OpenClaw. Go use OpenClaw. Obviously, we think you should use all the tools and experiment and see what works best for you. But we have a little different focus, and our focus is building 100, or we're looking to create 1 million entrepreneurs with agentic businesses. That is our focus, agentic companies, right? So where we left off at was we were trying to get our agent access to all these tools, and that's what we're debugging here. So I'm going to go copy this into Cursor. This is what we're trying to fix. Right now, he can discover all the tools, but he doesn't have access. He can't use them. And that's not good. That is not what our ideal goal is here. We want him to have access to every tool. So I'm going to switch back over to Cursor. So look, I'm a little stuck here. And so I'm going to go ahead and just like see if they can help, because it's a little bit, I tried it. I had to run a query in the dev tools, but I'm going to go ahead and voice talk here. And what I like to do is, I don't know, I don't have a special voice tool. I use the dictation tool inside of ChatGPT. It works. I have a ChatGPT subscription. Is it the best workflow? Probably not, but it works for me, and I don't have to pay extra for something that is good already. So let's go. So my application is just, there's a few steps here that I need to implement to make the tools discoverable, but it's a little bit complex with regards to some of the steps that I need to do. So I need you to go ahead and implement this. We've conducted some tests, and the results were 3 tests, files passed, 53 tests, files passed, but it says a full repo TypeScript checked is still not green. So we need to get a full green TypeScript checked as well, and then address the remaining failures, but they are pre-existing. I first need to make these tools discoverable. And you're saying restart or redeploy the app, which has been done. But I'm still not understanding why my CEO agent can't access the tools. Is there a way I think I need you to implement this on your end. And I've already sent a message to my agent, and he still can't access tools. Do I need to log in or log out? But I need you to implement this, debug this, or figure out a way to push these tools so that they can the agent can access them. So this is a little lazy on my part, guys. It is kind of, there's a lot of little nuances here with this, and I don't feel like I could do it faster than AI could. So we're just going to paste that in there. What do you guys see? Let's see. I think you guys are still looking. Yeah, you guys still see my screen. So I do have one gripe with this streaming tool. I wish I can have multiple screens set up and then just share between like whatever one I want. All right, let's add that to stage. Okay, so we're here. All right, so we are trying to debug this. Maybe I can make myself a little smaller here. Yeah. Now let's send it. Let's send it. So we're trying to debug this to get our agent access to the tool suite inside of Open Enterprise. That's what we're working on right now. It already has all of the powerful tools that come out of the box with OpenClaw. So that's nice, but we need ours to have a little bit more for our users. So I'm having the agent inside of Open Enterprise debug itself, which is pretty cool. So right now we are using GPT 5.4. Look, guys, if you like Opus, if you like Claude or whatever, it doesn't really matter. What matters is getting your shit done, right? So we like to make sure that we don't over optimize and we just kind of start working. So I'm going to share up the Open Enterprise so we can see what we can test this in real time. I think that's important. Boom. So while Cursor is cooking, we will be seeing how we can get this thing to work in real time. So in the meantime, let me pull this up. Another thing we want to tighten up too is our agents. So we got to fix that, but that's not important right now. But we will get there. We will get there. Over here, we have a pretty simple workflow. I primarily I only work in Cursor. It just makes sense to me. It's what I've been using when I first started to work with AI to code. I just love it. Um, it's a great tool. Highly recommend using that tool if you guys are new to agent, or we'll just say vibe coding, right? If you're new to it, Cursor's the way for sure. Love Cursor. There's other ones out there, but I can't complain with Cursor. The only thing I would say with them is their dictation tool is terrible. And Cursor team, if you're listening, please fix it. But I mean, that's not a make or break for me. I've been using them. I just use the dictation tool inside of ChatGPT. It works great. But yeah, if you guys are new to this, totally check out the Cursor IDE. Fantastic product. Also, if you are interested in learning more about what we're doing over here in this space, this particular corner of the internet, we talk about design over here and we build products. So design, fashion, tech, technology, that's my lane. Right now we're on a live stream series called Vibecoding Sessions, or Vibecoding Studio Sessions. We're on day 10, I believe. Yeah, day 10. Current MRR, $50 monthly recurring revenue. Hey, that's a decent dinner, depending on where you're at in the country. But yeah, our goal is to hit 50K MRR by end of this year. So part of that is just going to be showing up, and marketing. Marketing is key here. This is a product that needs to be marketed. So I know we're excited to build all day, but we've already built. Like we did a lot of the building. Now I am going to show some of the building because I've done most of this building, 90% of it off the live stream. So this is I'm picking back up like 90% there, but there's always going to be updates and changes, and you'll see along the way how we get there. But yeah, so right now we are working with our agent to give us access. Let's see if we can find some bugs. So we did notice one bug was the dictation tool was terrible. What another problem we have is our cards inside of our swim lanes are squished. They should be fully expanded. That would just make for a longer scroll. So we want to make sure we fix that. So this is probably agent activity inside of here. So yeah, metrics. Oh, wow. I haven't clicked through this yet. So we have metrics. So we can check on the metrics of our agents, how they're doing. So I feel like, yeah, we can check their hourly activity, how many tasks they've done, their success rate. We'll probably add in like a burn rate here. Workflows. Oh, so we can create workflows, create and automate multi-step agent pipeline. So that's interesting. We have that. We can do sprints here. We can manage sprints. And then templates. So we'll want to create some templates, but this stuff is not that important right now. Right now, it's just the board. So that's one thing we need to fix. We also have this UI update we need to do with this side scroll bar, right? We want it to match this aesthetic here. You see how this is invisible when you hover on it. That's important. So not too much really here inside of the workroom. Just those few things. Memory. So once he has access to tools, we'll want to really think about this memory. We want to improve this memory. That's important. This memory here is the brain of your enterprise, and this will be referred to a lot from your agents. So we want to make sure we have this fully dialed in. Obviously, we want to improve this. We're later on down the line are exploring things like vector-based memory. So incorporating that in some capacity. I think for now, just sticking with these like basic markdown files should be enough. We want to actually probably add support to this. So what I'm already noticing right now is currently our memory, we don't have the ability to add or upload. Well, I think we do. We can't upload stuff. So we can't upload. Looks like we can upload stuff here. Okay, that's good. It didn't show that. Oof. All right. So we can upload files. So it looks to be good. We have this pretty cool little graphic here. So that's like the memory core. As the memory gets more and more full, this changes color. Backlinks. So maybe we want to incorporate some sort of short keys or whatever. But either way, memory seems to be in a good place. We'll understand if it's effective or not once our agent gets access to that. So that'll be good. Let's see. Treasury. So my treasury is not set up yet. I don't know why. But anyway, this looks like we need to dial that in. So generous $15 million, 15 million tokens you get on our enterprise plan. That's fantastic. I think you can build a couple small apps with this. Definitely you can. But I mean, we also support bringing in your own keys. So you can max out all of this and bring in your own keys, or you can pay as you go. So we offer that. But so far, this looks good. We do need to finish setting up the Web3 wallet. So that's going to require a little bit of planning, understanding, well, this is the Web3 wallet, not specifically to our exchange. So we might want to integrate. So we probably want to batch all the Web3 stuff into a phase. So what's cool is I'm really trying my goal. So here's the goal here. Here's the goal. Here's the goal, baby. Because we're gonna blow the industry away. So um so I'm trying. What we're doing is we're the first important part is to get our agent tool access. Once our agent gets tool access, then we can start to work towards the agentic organization framework, meaning a fully autonomous agentic business. And so that'll consist of stand-ups, roadmaps being done and optimized, the workroom, tasks moving from backlog to completed, right? Things of that nature. So I can have the like weekly call with my CEO and kind of think about where we need to go, and then he can take that and run with it. So that's what we're working towards. So at a fundamental level, we need to make sure our agent has access, right, to all of these tools. It needs to be able to create roadmaps. It needs to be able to adjust the stages and fill up a backlog and move things along. It needs to be able to schedule things on the calendar and to have that those cadences. That's essential. So that's why we are working on the piping right now, per se, to give it the abilities it needs to help us grow. And if once we get everything kind of dialed in, we'll set that. Klein. So I named him Klein. Klein knows the goal is 50K MRR, right? So we need to hit that, and I'm kind of excited because I think he will hit that. We'll figure out how to hit that. And so those are like the nuances, and I would say those are more like operational things. where we'll probably need to focus on next is marketing. And so eventually we're going to need a CMO, chief marketing officer, and that marketing officer is going to need to set up, we're going to need to set them up to have access to certain tools. So we have quite the journey ahead of us. And if you're here, I'm excited. You'll see us kind of evolve and grow. But those are some things at the top of mind that I think are very important that we want to eventually get to. So eventually we get to the point where Open Enterprise is working on itself, and then we can focus on marketing and kind of just really working on the agentic founder side of things and implementing those into our our software. So exciting stuff. Treasury looks good. Web3, like I mentioned, we're going to batch that into one phase, right? It's going to be a combination of making sure we have proper connectivity. And then I really see that connecting with the exchange as well. So if there's any sort of like Open Enterprise token, do not buy into any of that. That's not an official Open Enterprise token. So just want to make sure you're clear. You will know when we drop, when we release, right? You'll know, like it'll be official. It'll be off of this channel or from our Twitter or whatever, our X account. So anyway, Treasury looks good. Just connecting up our Web3 wallet so our agents can use that. Team and hire. Let's see. Team and HR. So this looks good too. I think overall our agents have a lot of currently client. He can hire and fire agents, and you can have unlimited agents, to be honest. Like you have so many agents. I think that's what's important. You can have 100 of them if you want. So we got that. Approvals. So approvals is still naked. We want to figure out what it is this could be. So there's a couple of things, and I should probably write this down, but I'll remember it. But approvals to me right off the bat are things that require a human in the process or a human in the loop. And these could be things that are sensitive. But I also think approvals could be a place to serve up deliverables from your agent. So if your agent just finished an application, you could see it here. If your agent just like set up your Shopify store, you could see it here. If an agent just created new ad creative for a campaign, you can see here. And I think that'll be a great place for deliverables. So in the approval queue, you'll have like deliverables and then like sensitive information. So to me, that's what that's going to be. We have our marketplace. I don't need to go over this. I've kind of gone over it a lot, but we one thing we need to set up here is Marty. So Marty needs to be fully autonomous, and Marty is going to have the ability to go out and search the internet and find new tools and find things that are happening in the skills and tool space, and then come back and create those. So we have big shoes to fill with Marty. We have this report listing set, which isn't necessary at the moment because all of our listings, so when you sign up for Open Enterprise, all of our listings, skills, personas have been made by us and have been are safe. Like we're not here to hijack your information. We want to have you as a customer forever. So you have access to a lot of this stuff, and we have a lot of skills. Like you can be pretty dangerous with a lot of the stuff we have in here, and we're really excited for that. So we do need to audit these skills, and if you're interested in being like a beta tester, you're really interested in beta testing Open Enterprise, let me know. We'll probably open up beta testing for like a few people, 2 or 3 people. But really the goal is to make sure that our tools and skills are working properly. So you'll get an Open Enterprise account, and you can play around in here. I think we will give you probably like the lower tier, which is like 5 million tokens or 15 million tokens, but you can mess around and just kind of audit our code. So if you're interested in that, you do need to be subscribed and possibly join our Discord. We're working on that. But all of these skills are good. We have personas, which I love personas. The difference between a skill and persona, if you're wondering, persona is like the character of your agent. Some personas do have skills as well, but it's just the approach that they have to the work that they're doing, as well as, you know, they typically have a few skills baked in, and then skills are very much like very specific actions that you need, right? A content writer or a research assistant or a prompt engineer, very specific, one thing, one skill. Personas typically are a collection of skills with the character development in there. So like a CEO persona would have a few different skills in there along with how it thinks, right? So an adjusted soul, maybe specific heartbeat. So that's important. And then we have prompts. Prompts are great. You can use all of these prompts to, you know, to talk to your agent. So let's see, like, let's look at one of these. So write a LinkedIn connection request and follow up DM for a prospect. I'll provide their profile details. Avoid being salesy. Focus. Yeah, this is great. So just quick prompts we have available to you. I will paste my notes from a deal, analyze them against the medic. Yeah, this is amazing. Amazing. So quick prompts, and you can kind of get through that. And then I'm excited for the developer application marketplace. So we want to empower developers, power the future of developers to build on open enterprise. And so you can, we'll keep this very, very tight. We don't want nefarious actors on here. We want legit developers who want to build cool applications for open enterprise companies and users. So we'll offer that. And actually, we did get the openenterprise.dev domain. So once that's live, all developers will be able to go there. You can find documentation and anything necessary for that. So either way, marketplace looks good. We don't have to really do much here. Perhaps we can optimize this. These are stacks. But I think for now, we're pretty good. Exchange looks good. If you missed it, you can rewind it, but this is going to be cool. Diagnostics was fire, so we can see tool policy and sync, agent climax, CEO autonomy level. Dang. All right. So it does have, okay. So I don't know if you recall this yesterday, OE core connector. These are the core tools. It has 91 persisted tools. Perfect. Prompt exposed 86. So that's how many prompts we've messaged with it. Canonical policy. I gotta figure out what that is. So autonomy level 2, 105, all registered. So these are all the tools. This is beautiful. It looks like it's good. Let me see. They all should have it. So we're gonna want to dial in. Yeah, we're gonna want to dial in here. Head of product. Head of customer service. Okay, so that looks good. Diagnostics. We won't focus on that too much. I'll mark that all done. Okay, what is this? Open Enterprise Core, 4 agents found. Manage your one-click MCP connector install. So I gotta, oh, this might be, okay. So we built our own MCP connector for the open enterprise tools. Is that how it? Let's see. Interesting. Open Enterprise gives your agents access to real-world tools through connectors, custom MCP servers, and memory. This guide explains how each mechanism works. So security boundaries, okay. Connectors with customs MCP servers. One-click connectors installed from the marketplace with OAuth or API keys, credentials stored encrypted. So we're gonna make sure. We need to make sure that this MCP connector, where's that? This right here is by default connected. And maybe what we'll do is we'll like disable the user the ability to like mess with this, because, and actually let me ask, I gotta ask chat GPT, let's dictate that, figure out what that's about, because I believe that is what the agents use to connect that. So we don't want to mess with this, and we don't want users to have the ability to mess with this. All right. So we cooked a little bit. Let me see. Let's pull up. Let's pull this up. All right. So let's pull up what they're talking about. We just cooked a little bit in Cursor. So let me. Yeah, we don't need that right now. All right, I just gotta do it like this. Doke. Stop screen. Share screen. You gotta show up every day. You gotta show up every day. Even if no one's here, gotta show up every day. So for y'all who are just now watching this, these are early days. And if you're on a journey of creating content for, you know, for your community, for growing, just got to show up. All right, so let's see, we just got this output. Says, so did the results again. I verified the actual database state and fixed the missing installs / bindings. So what I like to do real quick is, let me just run a quick agent review here. Sometimes this is another thing I have. It's good at times with debugging, but sometimes it's a little too literal, so it's not that smart. It'll debug things that I notice. The frontier models, it had implemented a change and it needed to implement that change. And so what'll happen at times is they just won't be aligned, right? The agent and then what I'm building with the frontier models. So sometimes this is good. I use it a lot, but sometimes you have to pay attention to what the bugs are, because it may be it may not be a bug, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so live state. I verified that the actual database state and fixed the missing install / bindings for existing companies. Recent companies now have active OE core installation and bindings, including Money Machine. Boom. Okay, that's that. And the existing open enterprise company with active agents. I also verified the CEO prompt surface directly for Money Machines. This is a goofy company that I have. Health partial company ops, mounted tools, A6 schema account, A6. And the generated prompt does include live executable tools, which is that partial company ops state is only because some destructor says admin tools are still correctly blocked by autonomy gates at CEO level 2, not because the core tool surface is missing. Okay. What you need to do now, you do not need to log out and back in. If you're talking to the in-app CEO agent, send a refresh message now. If the agent still insists he has no tools, start a new chat with the same CEO agent. You do not need to rehire the CEO. Okay, that's good. This is good. We don't want to have to do any of that. The reason a fresh message or a fresh chat can matter is behavioral, not infrastructural. Okay, the model may keep following stale earlier conversations assumptions even after the prompt surface is fixed. I added prompt text to explicitly tell it not to claim it lacks tool access when tools are listed. See, this is a fatal flaw of agents, right? This is why it's not perfect. So, right, this is a level of intelligence that's lacking. So a lot of agents are confined to their context window. And if that context window gets muddied, they tend to use that as their source of truth. So just things we're thinking about, right? Agentic organizations, we're not fully there yet, but we're working towards it, right? So this is good. Looks like we're making good progress. Let me see here. It says, okay. The reason that first message where I read that, I added a prompt text. If you mean in externality runtime agent sessions, that still needs a fresh runtime session to mount host tools. Keep this chat open, preserve history, start new. No, okay. So it's confusing. My ID runtime session, no. Do you still need those plans for discovery locker? No, you do not still need. Just to make to discover for the blocking parts are now implemented. What remains from those plans is optional hardening. All right, so look, we do have a bug here. All right, so let's try this. All right, so we'll review this. We'll fix this issue here. We'll switch back to the callable tools agent. All right, so the next thing what we wanted to talk about was, and I did have a goal of doing some marketing here, and we'll probably switch gears here in a minute. We'll probably be online for like another 30 minutes or so, but time flies when you're having fun. So we'll see. But let's switch. We'll switch gears here in a minute. First, we just need to get this agent working. So what I need to do is, let's think here. Let's think. That's what it was. Okay. So that was fixed. We're going to find another issue. I'm going to pull open Chat GPT because I have a question about something that we have here. So if you remember, we have in our settings, we have connected integrations, and we have the Open Enterprise core. So I need to ask about that. So in the settings of the user's account for the MCP connector installations, we have the Open Enterprise core. Is this implemented tool access to the entire application? Was it through this Open Enterprise core? And then if so, we need to make sure that regular user accounts do not have the ability to disconnect it, simply because it is not, that's just something that we don't want, right? Now they can view it, and I think if they're able to view it, it'll a modal will appear and it'll explain to them what this core is. But it is at a bare minimum, we do not want to allow them to disconnect it. Um, Perhaps they can test it. Actually, I want to go with your elite suggestion here. What capabilities we should give them, and what are your thoughts on giving them the ability to disconnect it? But I don't think this is smart, simply because the open enterprise application is how they run their business, and their agents need access to that. Now, I mean, there is a world where they want to be completely manual, so perhaps it makes sense. But I don't know. I don't think that's what our desired use case is for this. So please address those for me. Like I mentioned, what is the open enterprise core? Is that how we've chosen to implement this? And then, yeah, this a report would be great. All right. So what I did here was I inquired about the open enterprise core, which appears to be um, our software MCP, and we do not want, I don't feel like it's necessary for users to have the ability to turn that on and off. That could just, especially considering the technical level of the users we are targeting. So my thoughts are, don't allow it, but they can test it, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and paste that inside of here. And then what we'll do is we'll put on ask. See, I love this. Cool. So no issues were found. So we're good. We're good to push this to prod. So if we push this to production, like I said, you can do what I do, but the best approach, and I want to teach you guys well, but the best approach is to have a local deployment. And sometimes I don't always set up my local deployment, because here's just a little technical thing. When you deploy locally, you have to have your env file, which is your environment variables. You have an env.local, and in that env.local file, you have to have all of your environment variables in there as well. So that way, why you need that is because there's certain environment variables allow you to access applications and to use what's an example? What are we using? What's one of our environment variables? Like, we have an environment variable for Stripe. There you go, Stripe. That environment variable allows your application. It's like an API for your application, really, but it allows your application, and it's not literally that, but it allows your application to have access to very important aspects of a specific application. So, for example, if you have a Stripe environment variable, that allows your application to, list the products and charge the products and deal with product IDs and stuff. Product IDs are environment variable. Point is, I hate setting that up. So I usually set it up the one time in the production environment, and typically it'll be because I'm on my, and this is game for you guys. So if you're messing with environment variables, so I usually, because I'm using Vercel, I have a lot of environment variables that go into Vercel. So I usually just put them there. And I do have an env file, an env file in my application as well, but it's not an env.local file. So that's why I usually skip deploying to the dev environment first. But that is not good practice. Do not copy me. Set up your environment variables for local and for your regular env, because what it does is it saves you the hassle of trying to debug a deployment that's production deployment. So that's just a little tip there, a little hack. But anyway, So we're going to deploy this to production, and we're going to see if our tool or if our agents have access to all the tools. But I did ask it a few questions about our MCP connector. So I'm going to send that, put it on there on ask mode. And this is what I love about, dude, oh, man, Cursor's amazing. They just did it right. So you can ask, debug, plan mode, or agent mode. So I have it in ask mode. And then the next house cleaning item we'll do here is we're going to submit our changes. So when you submit your changes, you have to stage them. And I don't know if you remember in I think yesterday's video, I mentioned I have a specific cursor rule here that generates a commit message, so I don't have to type it. So I usually hit the little intelligence button, the AI button. It gives me a commit message, and this just tells you what was done, right, in this specific round of changes. So when you go and look back at your Git tree, you can kind of just get a quick synopsis. This is helpful for developers too. So if you have developers on your team, they can kind of look back and be like, okay, this happened there. So we're going to go ahead and commit this. And this was good. No errors were founded. And then you have to sync your branch once you commit it. So let's commit it. Let's see what the dealio is. And I'm gonna go ahead and switch you guys over to Open Enterprise so we can see if Mr. Klein has access to the tools, because Klein is a diva. He's really making it hard for us over here. So let's stop the screen share. Let's share this. Share screen. Open Enterprise. Boom. Let's go ahead. Add to stage. All right, we got Mr. Klein over here, CEO of Open Enterprise. And let's figure out something here. So remember I inquired on Cursor about it was this down here. So we have, where'd it go? Yeah, our connected integrations. So this is cool. If we have our own MCP server, this could be cool to roll out with, this might be something interesting because this works two ways, right? This allows our agents inside of Open Enterprise to access tools. But what if you have a claw, right? What if you have your own claw and your own Mac Mini? Well, theoretically, you could give it access to our open core MCP, paste that into your own claw, and now your claw could work. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Now your claw can work inside of this, right? And so you don't have to change. If you don't want to hop on the Open Enterprise wave, that's fine, but you could still use your own claw and connect it and integrate it into it. So this is actually what we're interested in as well, a two-way MCP integration, because eventually, if you stay with us, I think tomorrow, that's the goal. It'll be a different live stream. I'm going to live stream setting up my own open claw on a Mac Mini. I got a fresh Mac Mini back there. And actually, let me see if I could go get it. I'll be right back. Let me go get this guy. Hold on. All right, look at this. We got a fresh Mac Mini Oops. I'll make sure you guys didn't see nothing there. Nah, you didn't get to see nothing. You don't know where I live. You don't know where I live. Fresh Mac Mini, right? I'm getting too crazy. Let's just show this. Fresh Mac Mini. Yeah, it's fresh. Haven't even opened it yet. So pretty pumped about that. So we will be setting that guy up. I have another piece of equipment, its own little screen, but I digress. Why this is cool is if this is what if this is what I think it is, so it is an MCP. One of the features and tests we can set up is the integration, right? Because like I would love to be able to use this MCP to connect to my OpenClaw on this Mac Mini. So pretty pumped about that. But let's go ahead and let's move it along. So we need to make sure. Well, I'm having deja vu, guys. That's weird. All right. Okay, it says I'm reviewing the OE core connector implementation and the install should disconnect UI flow so I can answer. Okay, whatever. We're doing that. Okay, report. Yes. Open Enterprise Core is a system connector you chose to represent the app's native business operating tool surface as a first-class discoverable connector. Cool. So that's what I thought. / MCP style integration. It is not the entire app UI, but it is the canonical bridge for the agent operable OE native tool surface. So these are the native tools we have: tasks, projects, sprints, calendar, vault / notes, stand-ups, channels, dashboards. That's everything. Workflows, approvals. I think that's pretty much it. Let's see. That's pretty much it. Let's hop on. Let's hop over here. So we have channel stand-ups. Yeah, memory, calendar. Oh, we're missing roadmaps. We're missing an important native tool. So tasks, projects, sprints, calendar, workflows. That is in the, okay. In-app agents already have a native OE executor / prompt path. OE core is the unification layer that makes the native capability surface discoverable and manageable as a connector / runtime service. Okay. So yes, for products as runtime discoverability, Open Enterprise Core is now the canonical representation of application native tool access. Great. I would describe it internally as OE Core equals the platform's built-in system connector, not a third-party integration. Nice. Not optional in the normal OE operating model, and the substrate that lets agents operate the company. Beautiful. Current risk. Right now, the product treats OE Core like any other connector in settings. That means the UI expresses test. Yeah, that is a current risk. And the backend delete route also allows deletion with no special case protection. So it goes ahead and gives us that. So today, a normal customer account that owns the company can disconnect OE Core. Recommendation. My strong recommendation is do not allow regular customer accounts to disconnect OE Core. That is the elite product call here. Why? OE Core is not a normal integration, right? It is the platform's native operating surface. Disconnecting it breaks the core agent value proposition. It creates a support / debugging trap where the product looks broken, even though the customer manually served the system. Oh, if you guys don't know, I'm reading from here. I'll just I'll just show you guys what I'm reading at. Yeah, so you guys don't have to be too out of the loop. So we're exploring the OE connector tool, and this is the bridge between making the actual tools inside of Open Enterprise callable. What does that mean? Well, we need our agent to have access to the calendar, to the workflows, to stand-ups and channels to create these things when we ask it to, so it could start to manage its team. And so right now it had created an MCP layer, which is called Open Enterprise Core. And so we are I had inquired about that with the agent just to figure out what the dealio, right? All right, so let's see. Boom. Let's figure out what's going on here. All right, so I asked for its recommendation, and it says, okay, if you want to support manual only operation, that should be a company's operating mode or agent automation pause, not disconnect the platform from itself. Okay, this is cool. So what this is doing is it's giving the user to select if they want manual only operation or if they want the agent automation. This is pretty dope. So we don't want the user to be able to disconnect from the MCP or the OE core because that'll break it fundamentally. But we want the user, if they want to be in the loop, right, they can select a manual only operation. And I think by default, we'll have the manual only operation turned off. So then that way they can, if they want to go in a manual mode, they can turn it on and it'll prompt them. So we rather have the default be the agent. Cool. Best capability model. So for regular customers, that's company owner accounts, I would recommend view, yes. Disable, no. Disconnect, no. For founders, session internal operation, disconnect, maybe. Disable, maybe. Force reinstall, yes. Cool. Product design, I'd use. Customer facing OE core behavior. Treat OE core as a system connector, not a normal marketplace connector. Cool. Show status. Bound agents, tool count, beautiful. Repair action, yeah. Hide or replace, disable says disconnect. That's what we want. Replace with something like required system connector, powers your agents access to Open Enterprise tools, cannot disconnect from settings. Beautiful. And if you want a manual business mode, add a separate control such as pause agent actions, manual mode, or disable autonomous tool execution. Yeah, this preserves the system integrity without. Beautiful. Okay, one more important note. I did not see evidence in the current settings UI that installed connectors already open a dedicated explanatory modal. When I viewed it, I saw install modal behaviors, components as connectors, but not a separate. That might be extra. We may not need that modal. Remember, I said we should have a modal pop up. All right. So if that exists, it's elsewhere. If not, all right. Recommended final policy. Cool. So we'll tighten this up. But first, I pushed the changes. So let's first, before we go and tighten that up, let's switch on over here to Open Enterprise to see if, oh, well, hold up. All right, let me do one more thing before we get too excited here, because what we did notice is in the tool list. Let me pull it up here. It says the native tool list, task, projects, blah blah blah. We did not see roadmap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into ChatGPT. Let me see what you guys can see. Yeah, we'll leave up, you know what, I'll leave up the the cursor so we can all be on the same page. I'm going to pop over here in ChatGPT and dictate this. Guys, this is agentic coding. It's very, very, very easy. Now, the thing with it is you need to be patient. Like, there's no one-shotting, right? Hello. There we go. I'm muted on accident. So we're just kind of we're walking it, right? We're walking it. Just quit messing with that. Hello. Okay. Yeah. So we don't want to rush it. We want to walk it, make sure we're creating a good product. So anyway, let me go ahead and pop on over here to ChatGPT and let's dictate this. All right, so everything looks great so far. We do have the agent operable OE native tools, but it looks like we're missing a few different tools here, or one of the tools are the roadmap. I think what I really want here is I want the entire app UI. I think that is the powerful play here. I believe we need to make sure that the agents have access to the entire app UI. Like, we have things like create custom dashboards. We have things like the roadmap and creating new phases and milestones. Like, the entire app needs to be like, that is what we need it to be. We need the agent to have access to. I think that's essential. I don't want to just give it a little bit. We want to give it full access to the entire app UI, all the tools, everything. It needs that. The second thing is, I do believe the approach here is quite sound with regards to not allowing the user to delete or disable or disconnect the OE core pack. What I do like is this idea of introducing a manual mode, and by default, we'll have manual mode turned off. But if they turn on manual mode, it should tell them like the warning of what manual mode is, right? And it doesn't have to be like a crazy UI that's like scaring them, but it's more informative, because essentially, by design, Open Enterprise is meant to be autonomous. So if they want, they can go ahead and enable manual mode. So yeah, no disconnecting, none of that. I think we need to make sure for the founder accounts that we have full access to. I can disable, I can do I can disconnect, I can do all of those things, right? So that's important. We want to keep that accessible to that one founder account that we have. I believe, yeah, I believe we can bypass setting up a explanatory modal. That just might be a little more, that's more excessive and not necessary. So let's go ahead and make sure we do that. And yeah, I love the recommendation final policy. That's good. You know, system manage. So we'll keep that. So you mentioned a few things you can outline for the exact implementations in spec policy. Not entirely sure what is that, if that's necessary or not. But I do believe, if you believe that's the elite approach for implementing this spec for this policy, perhaps that's good. But like, I want to keep it pretty simple, really just not allowing a user to just disconnect or anything. The next thing I would be interested in, though, is perhaps the user can allow, like, can we empower the user to connect their claw? Like, let's say they have an agent, or, some sort of tool outside of Open Enterprise, like their own Claude Code, or maybe it's their own OpenClaw. Can that Open Enterprise core MCP be used for that? Like, how would we surface the MCP for them to use outside of the application? And that's not something we should worry about now, but something that I'm thinking about. And then let's go ahead and let's launch. All right, so what I just did there was we wanted to tighten up a few things. We've noticed that there was a couple tools we're missing right there. One in particular was the roadmap. And so the roadmap is key, I think. And so what I ended up saying was, like, let's give the agent full access to let's give it full access to the UI. And let me switch back over here. Full access. Guys, we are approaching 2 hours. We are approaching 2 hours. If you like the stream, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Set up notifications so you don't miss these live streams. I hope you're learning something. I hope you're getting value. And if you have questions about how all this works, hit me up. Shoot me a message in the comment section, and I'll try and answer as much as I can. Building agentically is we're an amazing time in our history. For the longest time, I couldn't code anything. I was a designer and I felt handicapped. And maybe one of these days I'll go into my story about where I started. And look, by no means, guys, I'm a millionaire right now. I'm none of that. I'm not out here fake flexing. I'm a builder. I'm a designer in the trenches like you guys. And you guys are going to watch the come up. So you have to position yourself as someone who you're confident in your abilities. And you have to be confident in who you are, right? Not all of us have access to capital. Not all of us has access to a special network. But what we do all have access to are these frontier models where we can cook and you can get your ideas out there. So don't let your circumstances be an excuse for your outcome, right? I want you guys to lock in. I'm here to motivate. I'm here to inspire. Look, it's not easy, right? This is day 10 and I've been streaming, like there's people out there that's been streaming for hundreds of days, and it doesn't matter. But you have to show up, you have to be consistent, and you have to be strategic. So always be showing up, always be willing to put in the work and grind and remain focused on what your outcome is and what your goal is. So look, I'm glad you guys are here. I did want to dive into some marketing today, but it looks like, I think 2 hours is good. I got a family I got to go take care of and love. And so I think we probably we'll wrap it up here a little bit. I do want to make sure before we close out we get this tool situation set up. So that'll be a big win. I think, if each stream we get something done, one or two things done, I think we'll be in good shape. So once the cursor is done cooking, we will go into Open Enterprise, and then we'll see whether or not Klein has full access to those tools that we want him to have. And after that, it's a game changer. I do actually, you know what? Before we wrap it up, I want to see if we can get the GitHub thing dialed in, because then I can have my agents working on code. So I can have my agents. Yeah, let's hop into ChatGPT and let's dictate this. So that'll be the last thing, and we'll get that working. That shouldn't take too long. All right. So, and look, guys, if you need to like rewind a little bit so you get how I talk to these systems, they're really smart. I rarely type. I usually just speak. And it's a very effective way, because I find that when I speak, I can get my thoughts out quicker, and I can be a little bit more kind of dialed in with my request. So highly recommend it. And if you have a ChatGPT, OpenAI subscription, their dictation tool is amazing. The cursor dictation tool is trash. And that's no knock to them because I love cursor. That is my tool of choice, but not every tool is perfect. And I still use cursor. So if the cursor team's out there, I would highly recommend just put a lot of love, a little bit more love. I mean, just use the Whisper API, right? But put a bit more love into that dictation tool for us agentic developers. It would really help, you know. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's dial in this update we want. We want to make sure we have the integration, the repository integration set up. So listen to how I talk to the LLM. Okay, so for the next functionality that we need to dial in, I noticed was not working quite as intended, was the repository integration. I know we offer a bunch of different repository integrations like Bitbucket and I think GitLabs, but let's primarily focus on GitHub, and I think we can remove the other two, right? Let's just make that repository integration fully GitHub specific. Now we need to figure out how to get that actually working. It doesn't work, right? I put in the organization URL and the repo URL, and it just connects, but it doesn't feel like it's actually connecting my repo to my open enterprise. It just feels like it's the logic hasn't been set up yet, and perhaps we need to go through the proper authentication routes or whatnot. But I do want to have this set up so that my coding agents can start to work on code repositories and improve those code repositories as we move forward. So however we get this set up, it's essential. And it's important to note that we don't want this to bleed across other companies, right? So one repository is specific to that company, and we don't want any crossover there. Additionally, I think in the approval, the approval page, I want to explore that as like a place where deliverables are surfaced that the agent has done, in addition to the like sensitive items that need to be approved. So obviously those sensitive items that need to be approved will be defined by the user, but I also think we should surface the deliverables that an agent is is working on. And perhaps the first iteration of that could be, coding updates and changes and pull requests. That could be really interesting to surface in that approvals as well. So that I really want you to explore the best implementation of this here, but I see that as like a two-parter, right? Approval of like sensitive stuff and then approvals of deliverables. And I think the first deliverable we can surface here is like things that are made, changes that are made to the code base. And so however you see us surfacing that could be great. It could be in the form of cards. And I really want that kind of beautiful, slick UI to that. The final little change that I need you to make is within the Kanban boards. Those Kanban boards it's still not fixed, right? You have the cards scrunched up inside of the Kanban lanes. So we need to make sure the cards are fully exposed so you could see the whole card. We're not looking to save space here, but just have the full card exposed, and then you just have to scroll through to see it. Instead of having them into this like small pill shape. We want the full card, and then it's just a scrolling experience is what you have to deal with. And then the last thing I need you to address is the bottom scroll bar doesn't follow our design system. It's still this like gray scroll bar on a white background. it needs to follow the design system of how we've implemented scroll bars throughout the application, which are the kind of the invisible until hovered on, and there's no white background. So those are the two things. Those are the not two things, but those are the items I need you to address and fix. All right, guys. So if you notice, that was a little bit long-winded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that particular dictation and put it into a plan mode. So if we pop on back over here in cursor, we can see that the agent has made some changes. So let's see here. So it made a few changes. Let me see what you guys see. All right, so we got a few changes. We're gonna run an agent review just to get a health check to see. This should be good. I honestly, I don't get too many errors with GPT 5.4. Like, the OpenAI models are great with really dense coding changes and updates. So we're going to go ahead and run that. And then quickly, let's see. We got something over here that's queued up. Okay, so this is a bug that it fixed. Can I just launch that here? Yeah, let's just launch that here. So we'll put this in plan mode. Trying to find the right chat to put this in. We'll put that in here. And then we're going to put it in plan mode. And I'm going to just pop on over to GPT 5.4. So this is going to create that plan mode off that dictation that I just had, which is good. And then let's look back on over to what was just implemented here. So remember, we had a few changes. We wanted to expose all the UI tools. So that's quite the ask, but let's see. All right, the launchable pieces are in place. Roadmap is now part. See, yeah, that was good. It wasn't a part of it. It is now part of the always available OE native core tool surface with capability, health test, update, and live. And that means agents no longer need to extend path just to operate roadmap phases and milestones. Yo, guys, we cooked. We cooked. OE Core is now treated as the system managed connector for normal customer accounts. Beautiful. That's what we wanted. The enforcement lives in, okay, connectors. The UI policy is surfaced from, okay, and app mission control, okay. Now this is managed, keeps tests available, hides disable connect for non. Also have manual mode. Okay, when enabled, it pauses autonomous heartbeats. Okay, validation is clean. Great, guys. Great. So what we need to do is, so I am going to switch back over to Open Enterprise so we can see where we are. Boom. Oh, check this out, guys. I think you'll like this. So when we push new updates, we we do a little update now banner here, which is pretty clean. So something I noticed too, which this update thing is ridiculous, but let's see what's new. So I've been having issues with this change log thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that fixed as well. So let me go ahead and dictate this. So one thing I did notice is the change log is broken again. It seems to be stuck at 1.53. It does not, it keeps resurfacing the same update, even when we've made about 3 or 4 new changes. So I need you to debug this, explore why it keeps breaking or it breaks after a certain point. And please fix this and tighten this up so where we don't have any issues moving forward. We need this to work consistently and be reliable. All right. All right, so this is a problem. And all right, guys, so we need to fix the changelog stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and paste that in here. Cool, we have no issues found here. We'll go ahead and put that into agent mode here. We'll stage these. So we're going to stage these changes. There's no errors found. And we're going to get a commit message. I'm going to commit this, sync this. So you guys don't see what I'm doing on the back end. I'm just kind of talking through it. I'm in Cursor right now, but we just pushed this change to production, which allows our agents to have full access to the UI. Then I just had a plan completed for that long-winded thing regarding the GitHub stuff and the workroom cards. So we just got hit here. Maybe it'd be better to so you guys can see what I see. This is why I love Cursor. So we'll pop back into Cursor and do I need to pop? No, I don't need to pop back into Cursor. So I'll just kind of talk you through it. So after that prompt, Cursor, not the one I just did, but Cursor's asking me when you say remove bit bucket and GitLab, what scope do you want for this pass? So APIs and agent repo tools, but leave any generic connector infrastructure alone. Remove Bitbucket from all user-facing repository products surface in the app while keeping generic component. Fully remove Bit with a GitLab connector, support everywhere. No, we don't want to. So make the repository link in GitHub only in settings, APIs and agent repo, but leave any generic connector infrastructure alone. Yeah, I think that's what we want. So it's asking, here, I'll show you because you guys can see. Here, let me update this real quick. And while we're here, I'm just going to check to see this deployment went through. Let's go to Versal. We're coming to an end almost, guys. Getting there. I need to get my standing desk set up so we can stand. So I'm just in Versal right now. You guys can't see it. It's a little sensitive spot, but I'm checking to see if the deployment has successfully passed through. Okay, so that's still building. So we'll pop back on over here. And all right, so what Cursor is asking me about is this down here. So part of that was this repositories. So we want to be able to connect our GitHub successfully to this, so our agents can work on it within inside of Open Enterprise. And right now, it's kind of just like it's fake. It doesn't work. So it's asking me about this. So that's what I'm looking at right now. It says for the approvals page, what should the GitHub deliverables experience do? Show a beautiful read-only GitHub PR/code update cards and approvals with links out to the GitHub. No merge action yet. Show deliverable cards that let users mark them approved in Open Enterprise, but still do merging in GitHub. Show deliverable cards and support in-app merge / accept actions where possible. That could be interesting. Show beautiful read-only GitHub PR. Show deliverable cards and lets users mark them approved in Open Enterprise, but still do merging / review in GitHub. Show deliverable cards and support in-app merge / accept actions where possible. Here, we're going to add a custom. So it's asking how do we want this to happen in the approvals page. So what we'll say is we'll define this here. So show beautiful deliverable cards and support in / app merge / accept actions where possible. We'll say provide links out to GitHub as well. So sometimes if you're working in Cursor, it'll ask you questions and you might like the options it gives you. So it usually gives you another field where you can input your own answer, which is pretty slick. And it's okay, like hybrid, right? If you like something from option A and B, mix the two. So I like the idea of option A and B. So I'm just kind of crafting my own response here. Now you guys can't see this right now, but I'm in Cursor doing this and I'm in plan mode right now. As well. So what I said show beautiful deliverable cards and support in-app merge / accept actions where possible. Provide links out to GitHub as well. We also need to allow agents the ability to auto approve as well, should they be instructed to by the user and our CEO agent. The car should still show. Okay, so we're going to click continue. Let's review that. All right, so we had that. Where'd it go? All right, so hardened release publishing kept normal generic commitment path, fallback path when. What was this? Oh, okay, this is the change log issue, so it should have worked. So let's see. All right, so it looks like it made the changelog fix. Remember, it was the changelog was getting stuck for me on 1.53 or whatever. So it says, if you want, I can also add a small admin / debug endpoint or diagnostic panel that shows currently deploy SHA latest published release, whether build commit metadata was available, why a release public was skipped. That would make this much easier to monitor going forward. Yeah, we know we want that. Yes. Please add this. So it's adding a little debug thing to the changelog. And then I had, so GitHub plan is done. Cool. So we have no issues with our current code that's in the change. All right. So let's see here. Let's go back. Our plan is done. Let me see. So I just implemented a debug endpoint and wired it to the same logic the publisher uses. So that's for our changelog. All right, so we All right, so we have our changelog fixed, which is good. Let's go ahead and get that staged and push. And then we have our OE native tools surface. So the roadmap operations are now part of the core always. And then, so the OE core is now treated as a system managed connector, which is nice. It's just standard for users. And then we also added manual mode. So that just got released, which is cool, which is what we want. We want manual mode. We don't want the ability. We wanted to disable the ability to disconnect from that. Perfect. So the next, what we're going to do real quick is we're going to run a parity audit to just make sure that every UI action is represented in the agent's tool. So we can do that quickly. So I'll run a parity audit. So I'm going to have it run a parity audit to make sure every import. So I'm still in cursor right now. You guys see right now what you guys are seeing is open enterprise. So we just want to make sure we run a quick parity audit just to make sure things are looking good. I'm going to update it right now. And then, guys, you'll be live to see whether or not we actually were able to work and get the agent access to all of the tools. That's the main goal here. That's what today's stream was about. See, guys, sometimes a feature can take a while, take 3 hours. Oh, we're good now. We're back. Okie doke. All right, so let's go here. I'm going to run this parity audit. I'm just going to make sure everything looks good. We're on that parity audit. So I'm running this parity audit in ask mode for GPT 5.4. And it's good to have the tool audit certain features and functionalities or security or API routes, things like that. And as you work with these tools more, you'll start to pick up on that. So it's running that audit for me. And then I'm going to pop on over here to the plan that we just had created, which was the GitHub repo thing. And we're going to build that. So that should be quick. That's only 5 steps. And then I think we're chilling. We're chilling right now. Yeah, we're in good space. So let's let that cook. Guys, get you a stand-up desk. Mine's not plugged in, so I'm gonna set that up for tomorrow. But get you a stand-up desk, man. It's the way to go. Start throwing weights in here in the live stream. I got some weights in my office, so we're letting stuff cook right now. We're letting it cook. Tomorrow, guys, if you are around, we will be doing a live. We will be doing a live OpenClaw setup. I have my Mac Mini. Let me show you guys. I have my Mac Mini. So we will be installing that. That'll be fun. So you guys can be there with me, and hopefully, if you guys have one too, you can install it. I gotta shout this out real quick. Let's go. Let's go. So this, I'm going to bring this up again because that's what we do. We over here in Open Enterprise, Designer Malcolm, we're exploring this idea of the agentic company. That is why we're doing all this. That's why we're building this, because we want to power that next generation of companies and businesses. If you're interested in this stuff, if you want to learn more about AI and agents and organization frameworks, come check out my research journal. It's called agenticfounder.org. I just launched it, I think, a few days ago. So we're going to slowly add to this and grow this. And this is all free information. So eventually we're going to probably turn this into a newsletter that you can join. Community. We're not here to charge. We're here to just provide value. But yeah, we talk about some cool things here. We have a few discoveries, some ideas we're exploring. So right now we have this idea of the capability governance gap, the heartbeat organization. So check this stuff out if you're really interested in it. These are all discoveries that I've made while building Open Enterprise. And the beautiful thing about Open Enterprise is that it is not only a functional SaaS tool for people to build companies, but it's also our testing lab for implementing new frameworks to help make agents better, right? Because as you may or may not know, currently the landscape is agents are very linear, right? Very, very linear. You give it access to tools, you give it a command or a prompt or a task, and it goes and does this. Now it runs loops, but it's very linear, right? We're exploring this idea of agentic organizations, how agents can run companies, how agents can manage themselves and really drive towards a certain outcome for entire organizations. That's what we want to focus on here. And so we have a couple of concepts that we're introducing. We're exploring, for instance, like I said, the capability governance cap, and the heartbeat organization. So, not heartbeat at the level of an agent, but heartbeat at the organizational level. And what does that look like? So we're just publishing this stuff here and we're exploring this stuff here. A lot of fun. This is just stuff for people who really want to go deep into the AI agent space, but you can find us over at agenticfounder.org. And, I usually publish things every couple of weeks or something like that. So yeah, just go ahead and hop on over there if you're interested in that stuff. Also, if you want access to Open Enterprise, let me pull up the Open Enterprise campus. If you want access to Open Enterprise, we do have a waitlist. We have a waitlist for about 500 spots. We have 500 spots available to access the alpha of Open Enterprise. Let me update this. And if you're following along, this is what we're building. So that link will be in the description and you will be able to join the waitlist. This is a paid tool. So, this isn't a handout, but we will probably do something generous for the first, that first batch of cohort, those people who decide to experiment and build on top of Open Enterprise. So we're excited for that. That's available. We're not really sure when we will go live just yet. We'll probably wait until those seats get filled before we go live. But if you want access, you want to get in here and you want to build a company and play around with it, by all means, please sign up and join the wait list, and you'll have first come, first serve access. Another thing we want to highlight today, so we made some progress. We actually introduced our OEE, which is the Open Enterprise Exchange. So what you're looking at here is, we believe, the future kind of market and I don't want to call it a stock market, but the future market, exchange market for agentic businesses. We're building that baked in open enterprise. No one's doing this. So if you're here or if you're seeing this video, you're looking at the future. I believe the future of companies and businesses will be agentic. And so why not give them the ability to list on an exchange? And this will be powered by Web3. So we're excited. This is all JSON data. So typically if you're building a software tool, it's good to get have some JSON data to kind of give you the visual fulfillment you may need. So what we have here is like a full-on exchange, and it'll allow people to go in and submit, or it'll allow small businesses to raise capital through the open enterprise exchange. Obviously, we want our businesses to be, they will be vetted. They will have to pass some sort of, stringent test and provide like information and like any other public company. And to me, this will be a far better investment than you guys out here, freaking gambling on meme coins that you're just getting rug pulled on. So these will be legit businesses that are verified on open enterprise, that are actually producing real revenue, and they will, they'll be able to list here, and then they can raise funds for their business so they can grow agentic business. So that's exciting. Can't wait to roll that out. And this will be Web3 powered. So this will be all on the blockchain. We need, if you have any kind of skill sets in and interest, and you really want to be a part of something big, like, hit me up. I'm a visionary and I'm a doer. You can see my receipts. I am building stuff every day, and we're going to grow this tool. So if you are interested in being a part of open enterprise at any capacity, hit me up. I'm always looking to collaborate. If you have input and feedback, let me know, man. I'm Designer Malcolm on all platforms, Designer Mal on X. But this particular component of open enterprise, I want to work with people who are smarter than me, right? So this is going to be an exchange, and we're obviously going to think about what blockchain we need, the tokenomics, the token economics, right, with this, and provide a vehicle for businesses to raise money and for people to produce wealth as well in this system. So I'm really excited about this. I think this is the future of companies, right? And so we introduced that today. And so let's hop on over here to the boardroom and see if we can wrap it up, because the main thing here is we want to be able to make sure our agent has access to all of the tools. So let's go back and let's mark this as red. This was that. Let's go to boardroom, and I'm gonna pop on over here to cursor to see how we're doing. Okay. And I need to check the deployments to make sure the deployment was done. Oh wow, it's built. Okay. All right, so it looks like it's built. We have some updates. Okay, all 5 work streams are complete. Here's a summary of everything that's been implemented. So work stream GitHub only repo linking. Okay, rewired, posted call instead of line, clear some logic. Drop the provider, rewired tools. Okay. Okay. Added back filter, cool. Little PR cards. All right, so we'll just run a quick review on this to make sure it works. Agent PR tools. Oh, so agents will need. Okay. Okay, increasing tone. Okay. All right, so it did everything. It improved the workroom UI. It expanded the Kanban lanes and then changed those cards. And then it gave agent poor PR tools. So that's interesting. All right. I mean, I think if we can push this, but this actually we can actually test. So let me wrap it up here. Let's go ahead and test this. So it said I needed to give it. Let's do a hard refresh. All right. It said I might need to do a new channel to activate these tools, but hopefully not. Let's see. I have updated. Oh, we need to do the dictation tool, but whatever. We'll worry about that later. I've updated the code. Do you have access to all the tools now? And if so, please proceed with the work you outlined earlier before we discovered you did not have access to the tools. Well, let's see. So we got some performance stuff we got to tighten up here. And this just could be my computer too. Like I have a lot going on. Cool. So it looks like that worked. Send that guy. Let me get out the way because this will be major. This will be major. So it looks like it still doesn't have. So what we'll do is we'll do a fresh chat. Okay, let's do a new message. So we're gonna call this new CEO thread. It looks like ooh, terrible UI here. Oh gosh. So we gotta fix that. Yeah, now look at that. Yeah. Okay. So we have a fresh new chat here. So I'm gonna have him give me a list of all the work you need to do. So I have him give me a list of all the work he needs to do. And I'm going to copy and paste that into this new CEO thread where we have, I guess we needed to say we needed a new chat thread. I don't know why, but let's see. All right, cool. So he gave me a list. Okay. And I'm going to say, here is the work I need to do. You should have access to all OE tools. Boom. So it seems to be fast when the context is new. So let's send that. Let's see how it does. All right, we're waiting. We're waiting. We're in a new chat. So he's working. And let's see where we get. All right, so it looks like he's giving us some stuff. I confirm the trust gap. All right, I'm going to verify the real callable surface first, then create the OE objects directly and report back with IDs only for things that we actually exist. He's verifying the OE, the callable surface using the actual OE tools. Okay, just tell me everything. I'm verifying the real callable surface first. So we're still having troubles. All right, still having issues. So let me pop on over. All right, guys. Yeah, it looks like so we didn't really get to the bottom of this. I'm running a parity check on. Here, I'll show you. All right, guys. Yeah, so I'm running a parity check. So just kind of show where we're to show you where we're going to leave off here. I'm going to wrap it up. Running a parity check, we did push a bunch of new updates and changes to try and get the agent full access to the UI. So it seems like we're still having some hiccups with that in particular. So I'm going to take it offline and kind of dial it up and then see if we can get into a working place. But I did run the parity check. Hopefully the GitHub stuff works. So we're going to have the GitHub stuff as well. We want that GitHub connection to work. But guys, like I said, I'm going to take this offline and kind of wrap it up. We'll get some food, go spend time with some people. But I'll probably tinker around with this later on tonight. I want to first and foremost thank you guys for stopping by. I'm Designer Malcolm. You can find me at Designer Malcolm on all platforms or Designer Mal on X. If you want access to Open Enterprise, make sure you check out the link in the description to get access to the waitlist. Also, go check out Agentic Founder if you're into that stuff, if you want to learn more about agents and agentic organizations. Hopefully I look forward to meeting some of you guys and linking up one day. We are having an Open Enterprise meetup, Open Claw meetup, sponsored by Open Enterprise. I believe I'm gonna schedule that for the end of August, so at the end of the summer. So it's got some time to plan for that. It'll be over here on the East Coast, so go check that out. I'll put a link in for that in tomorrow's stream. Also, tomorrow it'll be a little different. We are gonna set up a claw. We might set it up tomorrow. We might not. I'm thinking we are. I'm like probably like 80% sure. I don't know if I want to spend a lot of time doing that because we really need to focus on marketing, and then we're going to be doing a lot of sales next week for our other app. So we got to get some revenue here in the door. So that is it. I had a blast. Hopefully you guys learned something today. And remember, keep working on your dreams. And I'll tap in with you guys on the next live stream. Peace.